Angel in Seattle. Hi, Angel. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. It's my first time calling in. Been watching you guys for the last few years. Just got turned on to you guys just recently, so
Okay.
I just decided to call in today.
All right, so what's up?
Cool. Well, I kind of wanted to just call about two things, because, I'm an atheist. I've been atheist for, 7 years. But recently, my atheism has kind of caused a lot of problems in my life, I guess I would say.
Okay.
Well, not really problems because of atheism, but problems because I recently got divorced. The reason why was because, the family, my ex-wife's family, they're all pastors and all that stuff. So, they didn't like the fact I was an atheist, so they pushed my wife to get a divorce and everything. I wanted a divorce too because it just wasn't working out, being an atheist and having a wife as a theist, especially a very, very fundamentalist Christian, So they came to my house one day before we got divorced and blamed the death of our child, on me because of my atheism, and said that, because she was pregnant at the time with our daughter, said that, she was going to be gay, and because, because I smoke marijuana. So they said, she's going to be a drug addict. How would you like it if she, smoked and this and that. And my kind of response to that was, it's kind of disturbing that it's okay for you to talk about my daughter's future sexual preferences just because, you're a pastor, you're a Christian. That's very disturbing to me, and so they didn't like that. So they kind of they were trying to take my daughter away from me out of the state, and I had to spend about $50,000 just to go through the divorce process and just to keep her here because, there was just a lot of craziness. And so, good. And but times when I debate with theists, and you hear them say, because they were in the ministry. I don't know if you heard of them, called Victory Outreach. I don't know if you ever heard about that ministry.
The what outreach?
But it's called the Victory Outreach.
Victory Outreach. No, I don't think
so. Yeah, they have a lot of churches around the world, and they mainly reach out to ex-drug addicts and gang members, but they use them.
Right.
Our family got ostracized from it about 8 years ago because the pastor that we were under was stealing money, and my mom brought it out to the main people. They didn't want to hear it. They were just concerned about getting their tithes, and that was it. So yeah, that's another reason why the family didn't like me too, because of what my family brought out about the ministry. So I was already red flagged in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But when I go talk to these people that I still have somewhat of friends with on Facebook and stuff like that, and I post atheist things on my Facebook. Of course, they comment and we get in debates, and they always come with these scientific, first of all, they're not scientists; they're drug addicts, so they don't really know what they're talking. I'm not saying they're stupid because of that, but they're not a scientist, so please don't bring scientists arguments to it. Really, God's plan got messed up by a talking snake. Let's really talk about that,
Yeah.
But they always go back to, if it wasn't for after that, when I tell them the basic things, there was a flood, and then hundreds of years later, or so much years later, there was pyramids built and all these other things. But then they always go back to, if it wasn't for the church or for Christianity, I would be a drug addict or being gay, or I would be back a gang member or what so have you. And that kind of stops me in that track in a sense, even though to me it's bullshit. And it's the last ploy, because in my mind, yeah, you're a believer now, but now you're a voter that's voting for creationism in school. And yeah, I'm glad you changed your life, but now you're starting to promote these things that are just not right for nowadays societies, And my thing would be should I just be all right flowing with them and say my opinion, or should I? Because when they say, I just kind of stop there, because I don't want, that's kind of them in a sense giving up. So. But I want to share my experience with them, but I don't know. It just kind of that's what kind of stumps me in a sense when I get to that point. So, what would be your advice to me to kind of handle that situation when I'm stuck in a sense?
That's interesting. You're saying the people that you're wanting to address were former drug addicts that went through this program. Is that what I'm getting from you? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, certain people went to the program, or certain people that maybe were not drug addicts, but maybe their mom was, and they said if it wasn't for the Christian faith, they would be drug addicts, And pretty much, it kind of talks to me at track, because I don't want what can I say to that? Because that might be it's true if it wasn't for Christianity, and they kind of would be in the same spot, but at the same time, it's but those beliefs have so much bad history to them, not just with slavery and
Well,
you know,
I mean, how do they
perversions
explain situations where people, you know, stop using drugs that it wasn't through Christianity?
Well, that's what I bring up too. I said there's people who change a lot because having a child, or a better job come their way, or simply they just grew up.
Yeah, they get tired of it. I mean, how do they? Do they not understand that you can?
They beat around the bush.
They do what?
They beat around the bush. They beat around the bush.
Oh, beat around the bush.
That's when they go to. Well, for me, it works for me. You know, and
well, yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is we understand from the fact that you can be successfully, you know, you can extricate yourself from drug use without Christianity, or you can extricate yourself from drug use in a Christian program. But it seems to me that part of it is going to be about your kind of what's happening with you, what's happening in that community, the support that you're getting. And so I guess in an indirect way, they could say that the resources supplied by this support came from, you know, Christian donations. But I don't know why that would then, I don't see why that would be, I guess, relevant to the help that's, you know, like if, for example, I don't sit and think to myself, if I donate to a particular cause, I donated to an animal shelter recently, and I don't think, oh, well, there's, you know, those animals are helped because of atheism. It's like, it doesn't even occur to me. But I mean, I guess I could look at it that way, but I don't.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
They do bring up like, eventually they're going to go back to it because they don't have the protection of, you know, the protection of God. You know, that's what they avert to. I just remembered right now.
But I guess what makes them think that it has anything to do with God? What makes them think it has anything to do with God when there are people who successfully extricate themselves from that lifestyle who are not using God?
Yeah, I recognize the fact that they believe that they.
My opinion.
I recognize the fact that they believe that that it was because of God or Christianity or whatever belief system it was that's the way they made it out. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they would not have been able to achieve that with a secular program of the same type. That doesn't necessarily mean that. It means that whatever they did, I guess, worked for them, and that's their perception of it, and that's fine. But that doesn't preclude other programs, or doesn't mean that that's the only way that.
Yeah, I mean, if they're claiming that it requires divine intervention to give up drugs, they're just demonstrably wrong.
Right.
Yeah, oh yeah, I agree.
I don't know what else to say. It's like, here's a person that did it without God. You're wrong.
But I think it's cognitive dissonance, that's part of it. But a big part of it, too, is the kind of the ministry that's running. You guys should look it up. There's a lot of bad things about this ministry.
I believe it.
The founder is a guy called Pastor. There's like 700 churches around the world. And they have one guy as founder of the ministry. And you go to the church and you'll see more portraits of the founder than you would even a cross. You'd be lucky to find a cross.
And you said this is Victory Ministries? You said it's Victory Ministries?
Victory Outreach Ministries. Okay. They're all over Texas. They're all over the South States, the East Coast.
If I had a tenor for every one of these groups somebody wanted to tell me about that is, you know, doing bizarro things that are religious based. I mean, I know so many people who have been like, I got out of that, and I'm so glad. I invite those people to go to the blog and comment and explain it. And if you have any history with Victory Outreach Ministries and you want to talk about your experiences with that, feel free to come to our blog and you know, give some backup here to this caller, so that we can hear, you know, a little bit more about what Angel's talking about and what other people went through in that. And I am so sorry, Angel, because that was a horror story about your child and your marriage and that whole thing, the interference. What a nightmare. And the resource that cost you in order to battle that is absolutely unforgivable.
Well, it was worth it. It was for my daughter. You know, I love my daughter to death.
Of course, but that's kind of what. That's kind of how they were able to really sock it to you, was by using something that they pretty much knew you would expend anything to. You know, that's the thing that makes it worse. To me, it makes it worse. I mean, I stood my ground. I had to pay a lot of money. I even had to get physical with her brother, who was getting into the mix too. So it was like really crazy. Like, it was financially, physically, emotionally, like. I would plan trips to go with her. She'd give me the okay,
and then take her away from me, and then I won't see her for like a week or something.
Yeah.
It was like it was crazy.
I mean,
stuff like
there
this.
are
So thank God the court
plenty.
seen
There are
my
plenty
side.
of people who probably shouldn't be around their own children, but because somebody's an atheist is not one of those reasons, and that's really
Like they told me, as
disgusting
for
to
me
me
and my
that
house,
they
they
used
will
that.
serve the Lord.
Yeah.
You know the scripture. I believe it's in.
Yeah,
it's in,
I know the scripture.
As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Yeah, they were, and they meant it. But like as for me and my house, you believe whatever you believe, and that's just it.
There you go. Well, thank you for calling and expressing your experience and sharing that with us. And like I said, people that want to contribute to that conversation should stop by the blog and give their feedback. All right, Angel.
And to my brother in the Middle East, man, keep your head up, man. Keep your head
There
up.
you go. Yeah. So show some love for the other callers. All right. Well, thank you, Angel. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day, man.
Yeah, have a good day.
Bye-bye.
And I just wanted to say as well for those, like especially like for secular AA, because a lot of AA is, of course, it's a religious-based program, depending on where you're getting it from. But there's apps like the United Coalition of Reason. Their app kind of condenses all of these atheist and freethinker groups, including secular AA. So like for the Austin area, there's, I think, 3 or 4 different organizations that give a secular version of Alcoholics Anonymous or any, basically, Drug Addiction Anonymous, that type of program. So there's a lot of resources out there, so don't let anyone tell you that you can only get it from God. Like there's a lot of a lot of programs that prove that wrong, like here in the Austin area alone, but all over the place. But yeah, the United Coalition of Reason app, that app you can download, has all that. Just search your area and just see what you can find.
All right. Yeah, resources, definitely they're out there. Be sure and look for them if you're having an issue.